Hey peoples, welcome back. We're playing EU4. No, we're playing
Bob's Mod.
no 5dim.
Bob's
5dim. This is
Bob's
not
Mod.
Bob's Mods. This is 5dim. I just wanted to try it out. I didn't really do any research on the mod or anything. I just said,
Let's
people
just
like
do
it. Let's download it. Let's do it. Right. By the way, I love that mod store that they have. So, where is the science now? There it is.
Would you say the bonds of a character or the flaws of a character would make it more interesting?
The flaws. Always the flaws.
The flaws?
Yes!
Why the flaws?
I would, because when you talk about people, you never ever talk about, oh, you know that person who's so smart? You always say, you know that person who picks his nose? You see? The flaws stand out so much, and its flaws are what makes people interesting and what makes them human and relatable, right?
Yeah.
I think that's actually one of the reasons why Donald Trump did so well this election cycle.
Why?
Because he was flawed, and he didn't try to hide it. You know, he accepted his flawedness.
And flawlessness.
Flawedness.
Flawedness.
Flawedfulness, right? He was proud of it almost. You know, he didn't try to back away.
Basically, I'm human, people.
But he wasn't trying to tell people he's human directly.
He was just showing them that...
He was just showing them that he's human.
Yeah.
Right? And so...
What would be a good flaw?
Anything. Addictions always make good flaws. You know what addictions are, right?
Yeah.
You can... some kind of like lack of judgment, like inability to see something right in front of their face.
Remember Archie's
handicaps.
character?
Handicaps. Some of my favorite characters from movies and stuff are people that have handicaps. 6, 7, 8,
Remember
9,
Archie's character,
10.
Charlie Turner, who had a horse named Jimmy?
Yeah, and
His major flaw was he had absolutely no common sense.
he had no sense of direction.
That was so funny.
He had no sense of direction. He's a barbarian
With no sense of direction.
with no sense of direction and a horse to take him there. Right?
Yeah.
So that was hilarious. Yeah, so things like that.
That was funny because his backstory was he went on a scouting trip and something really tragic happened and his partners died and he couldn't find his way back.
No, his partners didn't die. He got lost.
Well, no, he had partners and he said they died.
Well, yeah, we talked about his backstory a little bit, but maybe he decided to change it or something. But you can't exactly trust what people say now, can you?
Eh.
If somebody says, oh, they mysteriously died, I think, did you kill them? That's what I think, at least. Okay, so we are short on belts. I shut down my belt factory, but I'll get my belt factory running rather soon, and I think I don't really need that many belts right now anyway.
You know, if he didn't kill them, that would also explain on why he suddenly got lost on his way back.
Well, actually, and we didn't actually go into any depth in this at all, but one of the things about his character was he's actually from a different dimension.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't from... That's why he couldn't get home. He was transported by the dimensions.
Huh.
And we never decided on why or how or anything like that. It's just, he literally got lost. He got lost and he was able to walk dimensions. You know? So whether he did it or somebody else forced him to do it or whatever.
And
I had a huge backstory.
Archie was a little confused. He wanted a really epic backstory, remember?
Yeah.
Or he wanted, like...
He wanted to be like Superman, right?
Yeah.
I have no flaws. I'm perfect in every way,
yeah,
right?
And
so we had to settle on the flaw that he would accept, which is like, that's kind of silly. I can do that. I can still kill people.
The way you described it to get him to accept it was really funny. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
So you said if your character was the general of an army, and you had this super easy way to defeat the army, like say, this is the example you used, but so you're standing on a cliff and there's a big giant boulder where all you had to do was push the boulder and it would crush the other army.
Yeah?
So your character, you were saying your character would act in such a way where he would see the boulder and he would see the army, he would see the opportunity, and then people around him would tell him to push the boulder down because it's that obvious, and he's like, okay, and then he turns around and tells them all to attack head on.
Yeah.
Instead of rolling the boulder.
Okay, so I need to do... We're going to have belts and inserters. Question.
Oh, sorry.
I will just do it. 1, 2, 3. This one's supposed to be blue.
Would a character that makes absolutely no sense at all to everyone else but actually knows exactly what they're talking about be interesting?
If they can't express it in a way that people can understand.
If they're like super smart, that they're so smart that no one can understand what they're talking about.
Yes.
Would that be interesting?
I think I'm an interesting person.
Yes, Dad, you are. Because sometimes you talk about stuff and we just look at you like, what are you talking about?
I'm your father.
does
Do
that-
what I say. It'll make sense later.
Or another thing I
Perfect.
was talking about was like, a guy that...
Is that my phone or your phone?
That's my phone. Who else would have his own ringtone dead to mine? I dropped it again.
Some more underground belts.
Oh, I finally got that thing you sent me earlier.
What thing did I send
keep
to her?
The Python programming book
Yeah.
thing. But
Need more belts. These guys just need power. That's all they need. I have the power.
I have the power. Remember that?
From He-Man?
He-Man.
How-
She-Man.
She-Ra.
She-Ra. He-Man, She-Ra.
Don't get him confused.
He-Man, She-Man, He-Ra, She-Man. Whatever.
I did mess up because the belts have to go. They have to go. I messed up. I was right. You have to be one back.
This just sounds like a big, gigantic puzzle game.
It is. Except the puzzle is exactly as complicated as you want to make it be.
It's a puzzle that you make.
Yeah, no,
That you
my
have
boss.
to deal with.
I was waiting for something or other, and I was browsing the Factorio forums. My boss saw that, and she's like, "What is that game?" I'm like, "Factorio." She's like, "Looks really hard." I'm like, "It is hard. It's great."
Did you tell her that?
Yeah.
Does she play it now?
No.
Huh.
I don't think she's too much into video games. I don't know, a programmer that doesn't play video games, that just sounds weird to me. Doesn't that sound weird to you?
Yeah,
That just sounds weird.
because I guess if a programmer... Video games is like a program asking the programmer to hack it or something.
Yeah.
Just playing it is just begging to be hacked.
Yeah, that's, I mean, programming and video gaming is not really that different. There's, you know, there's, sometimes I'm playing a video game and I'm like, oh, I wish I could program this, you know?
Yeah.
I wish I could just write a program. Like, I want to write a program for blueprints. Blueprints that respond to different input conditions and things like that.
So, I guess as you play the game, you just get ideas for different programs.
Yeah, like, one thing that I want to write is a program to basically build a mine, you know, and a train stop next to the mine. And that would be
Isn't
a really
that
interesting
called a
program
really
to write.
big blueprint?
Kind of, but the blueprint has
That's
extra stuff
an
in it.
unnecessary pull up there.
It's unnecessary, but I want it anyway. For symmetry.
Victory pull.
No, not quite a victory pole. I hate to-
Then what's the use of symmetry?
But
then?
besides, victory poles don't work anymore, which I think is terrible, personally. Military 2, or should I go...
Maybe they have to be
Let's go
gigantic
for
victory
advanced material
pulls.
processing. Let's start making some stone brick.
Material processing.
I want to build a level 2 furnaces. How's my power, by the way? Oof, we need some more power. 5, 10, 1, 2, 3. 5, 10, 1, 2, 3.
Dad,
Yes.
would you want to play
5,
as
10.
a really ignorant and I don't know. Stupidly brave, ignorant character. How about that?
That's a pretty common trope.
Yeah.
I think rather than that kind of character, I would rather play as a know-it-all that is wrong,
Someone who acts like they know it all the time, but
but they
they're
end up being
wrong.
wrong like almost all the time.
so you just don't listen to them.
Yeah,
But
kind of,
then
sort
it
of.
turns out they're actually right.
Occasionally, but normally they're not.
Yeah.
So we can start laying stuff down already. Double our power supply.
So
Oh, no,
that's like the exact opposite of the other character.
Yeah. I like the... What's the right way to put it? I like characters that think they know what they're doing, that they're confident. You know?
Confident know-it-alls that aren't really that smart.
Where's
Just
Pipes?
sophomore.
Kind of, yeah, sophomorish.
And not in terms of school, but in terms of wise fool.
The fool... The person who is wise and thus a
Is-
fool.
Yes.
Right, because a real wise person would know that they're not wise. The other kind of character...
You know that I know nothing, which contradicts itself.
Does it?
He knows that he knows nothing.
If he knows nothing, then he doesn't even know that.
Yes.
It is contradictory, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah. So there's my green science factory, just plugging along, tugging along, tugging along. Normally I like to build stuff, but I think in this case I'm just going to build stuff.
Can't you just... To build stuff, isn't that just blueprints and robots?
No, that's like, let's upgrade these guys. Shift middle click. Let's start upgrading this. I need to get some gears.
What about a wizard that you can never depend on under pressure?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Like, when they have to cast this important spell that has to be cast or else, like, the world is gonna end and they get super stressed out under the pressure and they cast the wrong spell.
Yeah, depression. I think depression is... Depression is a very interesting... Not to belittle it or make a light of it, but I think in terms of storytelling, I think depression is a very interesting story element. So...
Okay. What else would be fun to play?
Interesting characters also, I think, mental illnesses. So not just depression, but like multiple personality disorder. People always like that. I think that if you properly explored it, it would be more fun.
Like Launch in Dragon Ball.
Lunch, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they just make light of that. That's just silly for them.
Yeah. That sounds like it was just comical relief for them.
Yeah,
The
I think
animators.
if you took it seriously, though, that'd be very... They're making a whole movie about that, aren't they?
About what?
Mining. What is this? Mining drill Mark IIs. Speed and range. Let's do this. Let's get this one. Let's play with this one. So already we're kind of at the edge here. So I'd normally set up like stuff here. I think I'm just waiting for oil now. Maybe I should just expand my mining operations. It seems like I'm short on gears. I'm short on iron. Let's get some more iron coming down the pike.
You know you're short because there's gaps?
Hmm?
Do you know there's short?
Does that
because-
require... It requires a mining drill, so I'm not going to waste it by adding, what's that, 1, 2 more here. Okay, this one takes blue science. Circuit network, logistics 2, let's go ahead and do that, just because. I think I do want a bunch of belts. Okay, so let's do the mining Mark IIs. Mark II miners. These require a ton of stuff. Let's go get a ton of stuff. Let's put them at the top here.
What about
Oh, they look different. Look at that. They look different. So this is using mining power 3, mining speed 1, mining power 3, mining... So these are twice as fast. Makes 36 pollution, so it makes, wow, 4 times as much pollution. It takes twice as much power, but 4 times as much pollution. Wow, these are pollution beasts.
do
Making
you
tons
like
of
them or
pollution.
not?
I don't know. I'll like them until I start getting attacked. But they are twice as fast, even though they take much more material to make. I do like the
You
animation. I think
have
it's
to
cool.
you have to weigh your cost. Whatever the saying is.
Yeah, the balance, the cost versus the benefit,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
Is
let's
there
actually get a bunch of steel furnaces here if I can. Need some stone brick. Let's get some. Let's get the steel furnaces running. I don't know that I like them because they take so much more resources to build, and they produce so much pollution. And 4 times as much pollution. That's a lot. Let's build 10 of those steel furnaces.
Your walking animation, you look kind of like...
They've redone the walking animation so many times in this game.
It looks like a bow-legged cowboy almost. Just the way he walks when you look at it from the front.
Sure.
You probably don't see it
I'm
like
sure
that.
he likes you too. Okay, so these guys produce 3.6 pollution. These guys produce 1.8. So twice as much pollution, twice the crafting speed, and the same energy consumption. So that's interesting. So that's going to increase iron production by a little bit. Probably need more than 1 belt for that now. Let's go make some more steel. Steel.
So I talked to some of my friends about the game and asked them what they like and don't like about games.
You'll never get good answers that way.
I know, but a lot of them said they just like customization options.
Like customizing the game.
Just their character.
Yeah, that's a very American thing. Is they want to build their own character. They want to build themselves in the game, basically.
Yeah.
You know, which in some ways is kind of sick.
Why?
Well, just think about it. They have a hard time distinguishing reality from whatever.
Well, I mean, you don't have to put yourself in the game, but
That's what they do, though.
I was saying instead of like having it completely, because I like JRPGs and stuff, and I know you don't like those games, but
Not so much, no.
I also like I was thinking like we could put a little bit of customization in, but not like where you change the whole thing, like
Yeah.
more as the further you go in the game, the more wider variety of options you have for gear and stuff, and just what you wear.
Yeah.
But you just start off with some stuff.
Yeah. One of the things that, like, I think you played, what is that other game? That other JRPG on the PS3, I think, or PS2?
Was it Ni no Kuni?
No, that one was actually pretty good.
Ni no Kuni was Studio Ghibli.
I know. But I'm talking about, like, a wide area range.
What was it called?
The one where you're like a moon princess or something like that, and you're saving the world from destruction.
What?
You like a priestess.
Do we have it?
I think we still do. I forget the name of it. But anyway, one of the things about that game is like you go through different armors. Every time you upgrade to like the next level of armor, it's like a completely different outfit.
Yeah.
But oh, I get to build a steel tool now. If I had steel. And the interesting thing about that game is that you like outfits keep changing, but you have to upgrade your outfit if you want to keep playing. You can't like say, I like that outfit, I'm going to keep it. So that was something I didn't like too much about that game. Let's go ahead and change these to regular furnaces. This one's small pump. I don't know what I want small pumps for. They take electric engines, huh? Trains. Maybe I should go to trains early. No, I need to get to oil. I need to do oil. Oil processing. Let's do that right now. Oil is the next level.
I wanted to start off as just not to make it too complicated, because I mean it would take forever to design 200 or even just 10 different outfits for one character on Blender.
Actually, it's not as hard as you think.
Still, it would take a long time.
When you get to materials and you start like setting materials and stuff like that, you find out that there's not a lot of difference between the different outfits that you want. And if you do mix and match, where you have like different tops and bottoms and coats and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like in Skyrim, then you have a whole bunch of options. and it's really not as hard as it looks. I think I need to have full-fledged steel operation.
Yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, you're not going to hand custom design like 20,000 different meshes.
No.
But if you allow people to like choose their own colors and stuff like that and their own patterns, you can get a very large number of stuff.
Maybe.
Can only build 3 more.
Obviously, each piece of armor is going to be different, but...
Well, is
Right?
it really?
Well, just in terms
It's
of
gonna look
design and
different.
stats, but
Yeah.
other than that, some are just stronger than
You know,
others,
I had-
and they look slightly different.
One of the things that I wanted to explore with my, tabletop RPG that we were building together
Yeah.
is what if the equipment really doesn't matter, right? Like it doesn't really matter what sword or weapon you have. Just choose the weapon that you like, that you think looks cool, and use that the entire time. You know, it doesn't really have a huge game effect.
I guess that makes sense.
And that way you're more building a character, because like
if you just have one thing that you're just comfortable with using that you just like in general, you're obviously going to use that a lot, and so
Yeah.
you can get better at using it.
and that's part of your character's
So-
persona is that your character
Uses
likes to use axes. He's really good at axes, and he likes to use them, and it's just as good as a sword, pretty much. You know, and there's
So
no reason why
why
he'd
would-
suddenly wake up one day and say, "I want a sword." You know,
Why would you use a sword if you've been using axes your whole life?
exactly. All right, one thing I wanted to talk about here is you guys see the situation where like one side of the belt is full, but the other side is not. Okay, is this a problem? The answer is absolutely not. It is not a problem. I'm only technically using half of my factories anyway. If I balance the belts, it would be these 2 factories that I'd be using, and not these 2. What's happening is all of the people are pulling off of one side of the belt. You can see here that it's coming off the left side, off the right side here, and that's the only place it's using it. But it's coming off the right side. But otherwise, it's like the right rate. You know, it's just everything kind of balances in the end.
It's just
You know, this guy's also taking it, but if you look, he grabs it from the right. You'll see the right will shift when he picks one up. Let me just kind of pick stuff up here to show you.
yeah, the right shifted.
Yeah, you'll see the
I
right
guess-
shift. He's picking up from the right. One thing that I do want to do, however, is to get a box of belts going here.
I guess you could say
He makes 2 at a
there's-
time, so...
The right is just more stretched out than the left.
Yeah, now, if we weren't able to keep up with the right side, then they would start pulling it from the left.
Yeah,
But they're not. So,
which means the right side is doing fine.
which means it's enough. Yeah, those 2 factories are enough to power the entire thing. It doesn't look cool, but it works fine. Okay.
Who says looks are important?
Who says looks are important? Exactly.
It's the inside that counts.
Looks
guys.
don't matter. It's what's on the inside that counts, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember I was in 2nd grade, and they called us for this like special meeting in the library. They're going to talk about Martin Luther King, and like, okay, whatever. You know, and they're like talking about black people. I'm like, what's the big deal? Their skin's black, you know? And the teacher said, well, you know, people don't like black people. I'm like, who? Why wouldn't you like black people? They're cool, right? I think it's cool that they have black skin. We had a black kid in the class.
Were you his friend?
Yeah, we're all friends together. We're 2nd grade, right? When you're
Of course,
2nd
yes.
grade, you're like,
Friends
Mommy,
with
why is that
everyone."
kid's skin a different color than mine? You know, it's interesting. It's not like anything controversial or anything like that, right?
It's like
Anyway,
I want to do that too.
yeah, anyway, so and this is like about Martin Luther King, right? Okay, Martin Luther King, blah 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 blah, did some stuff. We really it's going over our heads, right? And then Martin Luther King said it doesn't matter your color of skin, right? And I'm like, I like that. I'm sticking with that. You know, content of character, not the color of skin. And then later on in high school, we had this big assembly about race because there was like a race fight or something like that at our high school. And so the principal wanted to make sure, hey, we're not a bunch of racists, right? Blah, 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 right? And I just brought up, I said, like, you know what? I really don't care what the color of your skin is. I care about your actions and how you talk and how you treat people. And all this kind of stuff. And they're like, well, that's racist. I'm like, no, it's not racist. It's the exact opposite of racist. You know? But anyway, to this day, I'm still like, I had this figured out at 2nd grade, guys. It's not hard, okay? Just don't treat people different if they have a different skin color. I mean, really, is it really that hard? You know?
No, it's not.
Yeah, and part of the things that drives me nuts is
Dad, you did that wrong. It's not symmetrical.
and I fixed it. I'm
Okay,
a
good.
fixer. That's what I
Okay,
do. Is I
good.
fix things. So anyway, that's my little rant about race. You know, and all the people that are like really, really, but black people have it hard. I'm like, I'm really sad that the Democrats a long time ago were really mean to black people. Very, very sad. You know, and in fact, if I were alive back then, I would be totally supportive of the Republicans who started a war to end slavery, right? You know, but that's not today.
Dad,
You know,
wait, you have something wrong.
I have lots of things wrong.
Go down there, there's an extra belt, and it's not going onto the other one, so to grab.
I'm not going to do that yet.
Darn it.
I'm laying something out. You just don't know what I'm doing.
Because I'm not smart.
You're not smart.
SSMARD, people.
Learn to spell, peoples, right?
25.
25 minutes in. Anyway, so I had it figured out in second grade, and I just never really understood why people made a big deal about it. And
Because people believe what they want to believe.
I think that's all it is. They hear what they want to hear, they see what they want to see, and they believe what they want to believe. And so when they see like racism and stuff like that, they're like, "See, I told you." And it's like, "No, you were looking for that." You know, the kind of racism that existed a long time ago just doesn't exist anymore. You know, maybe somewhere there's somebody that says like, "I hate all the black people," but where? I can't find them. Can you? You know, I need to have this go underneath here.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my opinion. It is Martin Luther King's Day, +1 today, so.
It's the day after Martin Luther King's Day.
Yeah, and when you look at what Martin Luther King was talking about and what people today are talking about, it's completely different, and it just drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. It's not hard, peoples. It's not like it's rocket science. Let's just stop discriminating.
Is rocket science really that hard?
Not really. The truth is, there's like 3 or 4 things you have to learn, and you know all of rocket science.
Yeah.
Like orbital mechanics, and then how do rockets actually work, and then that's pretty much it. And then from there, it's a bunch of, well, okay, so I know the principles of rockets and things like that. What do I do with it? How do you actually build a rocket that actually works? And that's kind of tricky. But in terms of the science behind the rockets, I'm getting attacked.
Dad, I have a question.
I had my first attack.
Instead of saying...
Alright guys, thanks for watching. I have to gear up for an attack. Take care, and bye-bye.